Hey friends, how are you? Another day, another painting. And paradise, of course. So today I'm trying to do a simple painting for you. Again in acrylics. It's my main medium, but we're gonna do a little landscape, and you get to see how I do some of my clouds. So the colors that I have up here are by Charvin. They're a cad yellow deep, alizarin crimson, ultramarine blue, cerulean blue, burnt umber, burnt sienna, and white. Now, I use this cerulean blue. Normally I would not have, but it's a little bit on the weak side. It's not a very strong cerulean blue. That's the only complaint I have. I've tried to give it a chance, but I'm not too crazy about this. But it's nice for glazes, or if I need like a weak blue to not overpower some of my reds or what have you. So let's get started. All right, so we're gonna start with the sky, and I will be posting a reference photo of this painting. So this is an 8x8, and I'm using a Pro White. It's a Jerry's Artarama brand by Creative Mark, and this is a bright. Okay, so just to cover the masses real fast, I mean I could use a bigger brush if I want. I could use this 12, which will cover this area a lot quicker. And you know what? Maybe that's what I'll do. Now let's talk about it. You always want to start with your biggest brush first. So let's start with the sky. Oops. That was a little bit too much. A little more yellow in there. You see, with the bigger brush you get to put on the colors a lot quicker. Maybe add a little bit of alizarin crimson. Maybe a little bit of burnt sienna. I'm just plopping on the colors. Maybe a little bit more crimson, a little bit more yellow. You see the importance of using a big brush. More crimson. Yellow. Put a little bit of water. Well, I put a little bit too much water. So basically what you want to do initially in your painting is to try and block in all the big shapes. Maybe more alizarin crimson. Maybe a little bit of this cerulean blue just to tone down this reddish purple a little bit. Now I'm doing this like really quick and loose. And you will see why eventually. I don't want to go up there too much because this is already starting to tack up. Now let's go for the water. Same deal. Actually a little bit more crimson on this one. Make it more on the purplish side. A little bit too much purple. White. So you saw me use a cerulean blue. It's because it's pretty weak. It didn't change my red too much. Watch, I could add some more. Didn't change it too much. The only thing that I did really is just make it like a toned down grayish color more than anything. Put some orange in here too. I'm gonna go down to I went from a number 12. Now I'm gonna go to a number 8. Okay, again, it's a bright. So to make a nice dark, I will go with blue, ultramarine blue that is, burnt umber, maybe a hint of alizarin crimson, more blue, and umber. Alright, so let's make a so this is going to be very impressionistic. Now, as you can see, it's not totally dark from my standpoint of view. I don't know how the camera's picking this up, but this still, I can see some of the colors behind here, which is fine. It's a mid-tone dark, you know, mid-tone value. So what's going to happen now, because I got my first layer in, I'm going to start working and adding thicker layers and glazes on top of this to get the effects of the clouds that I want. Now that's the beauty with acrylics. Now if I was doing this in oil, it would be a different story. Your approach would be a little bit different because you can't just go ahead and glaze right away with oil as you can with acrylic because of how fast it dries. With oils, you can, if you have a fast drying medium added to the oil, you'll be able to go over and have different blending effects with the colors in the background. But acrylic is different because it's already dry. I'm gonna have to find a way to get the approximate colors to give the eyes a visual blending. Your eyes are going to do the blending for you. Okay, I'm not going to make a perfect blend, but I'm going to let the viewer's eye do the blending. So, on we go. So we're going to do this yellow. Now I'm not adding too much water to this. Now basically what I'm going to be doing is sculpting the clouds the way I want them to be. Give the clouds more definition and shape, as you can see. And gradually creating a gradients. And if other colors like this red, for example, are showing under the color, see right here, it's basically almost like a glaze, and that's fine. It gives just that much more texture, visual texture to the painting than otherwise you know, thought of. So now as you can see, it's starting to create something. Let's do more yellow and work on the other side, a little bit of red. Ooh, that was a little bit too much. More yellow. Let's add some white. Soften these edges a little bit. Maybe add a little bit of water on my brush to, let's see, actually a little bit more white. Let's add more red. And when I say red, it's alizarin crimson. Just to make like a transition color. See, now I added a little bit of white to this alizarin crimson, made it a little bit more of a purplish color. And you can see I'm using choppy strokes to achieve what I want here. I'm gonna leave this blank space. We're gonna add some purples here a little bit. Let's add alizarin crimson with some ultramarine blue. Maybe even a cerulean blue to make it even weaker. So now I got this gray down purplish color. Actually, let me add a little bit of burnt umber just to tone down this purple. It's too high of a chroma. I could have done that actually with yellow. Now I'm just spreading this paint around thick and thin to let some of the base colors actually show through. So some of that orange is going to pop right through that purple, which is a desired effect that I want. And if I want it, you know, darker on some spots, all I have to do is add thicker paint. Gray this down a little bit. Let's see. Maybe add a little bit of yellow to this. Give this effect of tree lines. I'm just using the edge of my brush. So now what I'm doing is creating transition colors. So I added just a little bit of yellow, not completely in here. Just give your space, go down just a little bit, give yourself a little bit of room, just in case you have to go back and pop into that color a little bit more. So you can see your different stages of color. So I add a little bit of yellow, make it an orangey brown, just to make a transition between the color changes. There you go. Maybe a little bit more yellow. Even if I go over some of the colors that I already had here at the base, it's okay. So let me go back to make it a nice orangey color. Make a nice cloud here. Now, by using semi-transparent colors, you will see, I mean, if you saw this painting up front, you will see how luminescent and deep and rich the colors are, because semi-transparent color let a lot more light through the paint, so you can further see depth into your painting. Sienna, red. Just adding more effects here. And it's okay if some of the colors at the bottoms are showing through. Back to number 8. Adding ultramarine blue, another a bit more burnt umber. Maybe touch of cad yellow deep. You can see it's darker now. And the reason why I use these choppy strokes as opposed to the corner of my brush is just the different effects that I get by doing so. Maybe add a little more yellow to this. Tone down that green a little bit with alizarin crimson. Smooth this out. So now I'm using a number 4 Bright by Berlin. So let's work on this a little bit. Ultramarine blue. Gray this down a little bit. Kind of cut into some of those darks that I already made. Just to give it like an indication of background trees. So basically you're looking from the water and you're looking out into the landscape. Maybe add a little bit more blue to this, a little more white. Maybe a little bit of burnt sienna, make a different kind of a gray. Make it look like it's burnt sienna that I have here from Charvin, so pretty strong. So be careful when you use it. You don't want your sienna to be too strong. So this is basically the water's edge. Now let's give an indication of these clouds right down here a little bit. I'm going to go with the bright again, but this is a number 4 bright. Ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson. Add a bit of yellow. Well, that was too much. Let's give this a wash of color. And notice I'm letting some of the colors show through here at the base as well. A little bit of orange. I'm making like a weak transparent color, and I'm just putting a wash again. Not even adding thick paint, I'm just using what you call the glazing technique. And let some of this color just roll right over the shadow here. What it does, and this is a little bit dry brushing, what this does is give almost like a reflection of the sky. Burnt umber, a little bit of ultramarine blue, maybe a little bit of yellow, and more ultramarine blue. Let's add some put a little bit of white. Get some distant trees as well. You got to add a little bit of 3D dimension, so the darker trees are going to come at you forward a little bit more, and the grayer trees are just going to be pushed back. So I'm pushing some forward, some backwards, some middle ground. We're not going to try and get too much detail in this. I'm not trying to make this a tight painting. It's a very loose painting that we're trying to do here. Very impressionistic. Bless you. Very impressionistic style. Give you some trunks. Make sure your brush is nice and wet. Use the thinnest light liner brush you have, and you don't want to make these very dark trunks. You just lightly make skinny trunks, otherwise it's just gonna take out the proportions. A few more trees. Maybe add a little bit of, let's see, just add maybe a little bit of color. Some of these forward trees here. I'm just making a weak, very weak green by adding burnt sienna blue and some primary yellow. Just adding some more visual texture to this. More of a 3D effect, like basically saying, look, there's another range of trees here. Give some highlights. And it's okay to use your hands. Let me make some shadows for the trees here. A little bit more work on the sky. Alright, now the birds. A little bit of blue since it's a dark painting, so so now all I have to do is just sign my name. Hope you guys like this little quick painting tutorial, and hopefully we'll have more to come. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you for all your support. I love you all, and see you with the next video. And if you have any questions about this painting, or if it's available, or about the materials that I used, place them in the comments and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. You guys have a great day.